So let's take a deep dive into referrals. Eventually, referrals hit a ceiling. Oftentimes, as you grow, the number continues to grow, reputation, reach, clientele, all that. But the correlation between your size and the referrals and the volumes and the pipeline um, start to really become disconnected. A couple things around referrals, and this is something we see a lot of. First, referrals scale trust, not pipeline. Referrals are a sign of value, but they're inherently passive, and that is really, really key to accept. Let's just call it that. You can't forecast or control when they're going to come in or if they'll align with your ideal customer profiles or personas or industries. The great reputation fuels the momentum, but relying on it leaves the pipeline to chance and not intentionality and not strategy. And you really just can't plan around it. Referrals reflect your past, not your future. Referrals are based on what you've done, not what you want to do next. And a lot of times there's a big gap or even little gaps in that. That means they often bring more of the same work, the same scope, the same budget, and the same vertical. If you're trying to grow up market, evolve your offer, shift your positioning, referrals often anchor you back to the past. And then lastly, you outgrow your network's reach. It's how you built the business. Most referral networks are built on the founders' relationships. As the business grows, those personal connections just can't sustain the volume needed to keep pace. If the founder steps back from the day-to-day relationship building, the referral volumes just simply drops without a system to replace it. So in short, referrals are fuel for early growth. But without a growth engine behind them, they become a ceiling instead of your springboard. One of the things we see when shifting from referrals into a demand or lead gen marketing effort is something commonly referred to as a trust radius. So referrals only work inside of that network. And how does that limit growth? What does it look like outside of that radius? So a couple pieces here. You'll find that you can't sell to people who haven't heard of you. Referrals operate inside your existing trust bubble. People already know you, someone who knows you, someone that's worked with you, but growth requires breaking into new networks, new verticals, new geographies where that trust doesn't exist yet. And without the visibility and credibility outside of your core circle, the brand just hits a wall. 2, you stay reactive and not proactive. Inside the trust radius, the business comes to you. Outside of it, you need to be intentionally marketing, positioning, and running outreach efforts to earn that attention and build trust at scale. If your only sales mechanism is wait for the phone to ring, you're not driving growth. You're simply hoping for it and waiting for it. Next, you can't build a scalable engine on relationships alone. They're powerful, but they're not a process. You can't measure, optimize, forecast anything with relationship-driven leads. You can run that as part of your strategy for sure. But in actually building out a sales plan and marketing plan for that growth, it just simply can't be done. Once you outpace your trust radius, you need systems that replicate that trust, or you simply have to work and be confined by that scope, that radius, and by your network. Referrals are a great start. It's how every firm starts, but trust has to scale beyond who you know. Otherwise, your growth is capped simply by your contact list. What happens to firms that stay in referral mode too long? So there's a couple pieces to this. 1, growth becomes unpredictable and so does revenue. Referrals don't follow your calendar or your growth goals. As much as you want it to, simply just doesn't happen. When the firm stays in referral mode for too long, you really end up on just this roller coaster of revenue. Feast, famine, it creates team burnout, team boredom, just a lot of trust issues, client delivery pressure, short-term decision making, and you really just can't scale simply because you can't forecast. Second, you hire for today's pipeline and not tomorrow's potential. This is something you really have to be cautious about and think through the forecasting side. Without a proactive engine, you can't confidently invest in new hires, service innovation, or capacity planning. You need to do this consistently, routinely, and at scale. In feast and famine referral businesses, this is a pendulum swing. It's empty, pipeline's empty, go build product, go build intellectual property, go network. And then when that next wave comes in, everybody shifts back over and you try and deliver it. It's eat what you kill model as much as you don't want it to be. So in terms of hiring for the pipeline, you're simply either overhiring, panicking, underhiring, or just simply stalling. In any of those cases, you're simply limiting your ability to grow strategically because you're reacting to the demand and having no part driving it. The last piece on this that I'll talk about is really you lose the market before you even know it. By the time the referrals drop, your network is tapped out. It's often too late to pivot. You've already lost the market. Possibly you've never had it, and you can't pivot quickly. That process takes time. You find yourself scrambling then to go build the marketing systems, build the awareness, build the network, build the sales infrastructure, all of this under pressure of no time and no resources, no revenue. The opportunity cost is just huge. You take swings at deals you shouldn't have, you undercut pricing. You're just trying to gain some aspect of market share where you can. It is absolutely not a way to build a sustainable business or run a team. So staying in referral mode too long, it's not just a risk, it just becomes a liability. The longer you wait to build your engine, the harder it is to catch up. So here's some advice that we give out pretty commonly to organizations, firms, things like that are in this situation. First, start by owning the shift. Do not shame it. Referrals got you this far, and it's something to be proud of. Growth needs a different engine. The first step is acknowledging that what worked then just won't work tomorrow. It's simply different. You're not failing, you're just simply evolving. And the sooner you shift from reactive to proactive, the more control you'll gain over your pipeline and positioning. It's a journey. It is not a one day, it's not a quick change. So just start making that change around building that intentional pipeline. The second piece of advice, and this is, let's just get into it. Build systems that multiply you, not replace you. This isn't about stepping away from the growth. It's about building the systems that extend your voice, your trust, your positioning beyond your phone, your inbox. Start small and start on the front end of the sales process. How do you qualify leads? How do you respond to them? How do you set up your calls? How do you frame the value? How do you run a discovery call? How do you follow up in that process? I mean, just literally just walk through it from the start and don't try and, systematize and delegate all of it at once. Start first, triaging that inbox on, appointments and calls and things like that, and work your way slowly throughout that process. You really have to build that maturity and muscle as you start from that bottom up. And then lastly, you've got to start to build expertise in one scalable channel first. I don't know where it came from, but there's that peanut butter strategy analogy. You take a little bit of peanut butter and instead of putting it on one little section, you spread it so thinly across everything that, nothing really gets the benefit of it. And, you see this with your time and your marketing as well. So focus on one scalable channel first. You don't need to launch 5 different campaigns or hire a full sales team overnight. Just pick one channel that you want to be proactive in. It could be thought leadership. It could be a webinar. Whatever you gravitate towards, whatever you've found some success in the past, build consistency and build value outside of your customer base and your referral base. You've got to start breaking out of that trust index. And it's really just about creating visibility and trust in places that you just haven't networked yet. And lastly, referrals are a gift. They're not a growth strategy. Building a system that earns trust at scale is not just through your reputation, but through a process. And that's really, really the core focus in making that transition.